What if the entire Social Security crisis could be solved not with one drastic change, but with a few smart reforms, each working together like gears in a well oiled machine? And what if the real issue isn't whether we can fix Social Security, but whether there's the political courage to do what's actually needed? Right now, people are worried. Social Security is heading toward a funding cliff. The date we keep hearing? Somewhere around the next 8 to 10 years. After that, the trust fund that supports benefits begins to dry up. And without a fix, the consequences won't be theoretical, they'll be personal. Reduced checks, delayed retirements, increased hardship. But here's the twist: this isn't some unsolvable mystery. The answers exist. Solutions have been proposed. The math has been done. The real question is, are we brave enough to implement what we already know works? Let's dive into the first major idea. This reform focuses on fairness. Right now, contributions into the Social Security system stop at a certain income level. That means the higher someone earns beyond that point, the smaller portion of their income goes toward the program, while everyone earning less continues to contribute on every dollar they make. So, what if the cap was simply removed for ultra high earners? Not lowered, not adjusted, just removed for those above a specific threshold. This change wouldn't touch the vast majority of working people, but it would create a more balanced system where everyone contributes proportionally. The impact? A massive extension to the life of the program. Not forever, but long enough to buy breathing room. Decades of it. Now imagine pairing that with reform number two. This one's all about scale. Instead of big, jarring tax changes, it proposes a tiny adjustment each year, so small most people wouldn't even notice. Gradual increases in contributions spread over 2 decades. The result? A stable and predictable revenue stream that strengthens the system without shocking anyone's paycheck. This kind of slow build is exactly what large scale systems like Social Security thrive on. Think of it as long term maintenance, just like a car or house. You don't wait until the engine blows up to change the oil. You do it regularly, a little at a time, and everything keeps running. Then there's idea number three. This one is less talked about, but no less important. It involves widening the circle, bringing more people into the contribution base. Believe it or not, a significant number of state and local government workers don't currently pay into Social Security at all. They have pensions instead, which is fine. But the system loses out on those extra contributions. If that group started contributing, even in a phased way for new hires only, it could close a significant portion of the funding gap. It's not just about fairness, it's about sustainability. More contributors, more stability, more peace of mind for future retirees. But we're not stopping there. The fourth idea is the boldest yet. It looks beyond wages. Because the truth is, wealth in today's world doesn't always come from a paycheck. It comes from investments, capital gains, dividends, and other income streams that aren't currently subject to Social Security taxes. So why not broaden the base to include those? Not all of it, not for everyone. But above a certain level, high non wage income could also contribute. Think of it as asking all forms of wealth, not just wages, to help protect the most important retirement program in the country. Now, let's pause for a second. At this point in the video, you've heard four different solutions, not hypothetical ideas, actual implementable strategies that together could save the system, extend its life, and maybe even improve it. And yet, none of these have been passed. Not because they don't work, but because of fear: fear of political backlash, fear of media headlines, fear of losing elections. But here's the thing: if nothing is done, then cuts are guaranteed. They're already baked in. The only way to avoid them is action. So let's look at the power of combination. Reform 1 brings in significant new revenue. Reform 2 stabilizes contributions over time. Reform 3 increases the contributor base. And Reform 4 makes sure non wage wealth also chips in. Each one tackles a piece of the puzzle, but together they form a complete picture. And here's where things get really interesting. According to most projections, combining just two or three of these reforms would push Social Security solvency well into the second half of the century, perhaps even beyond. That's not a delay, that's a real solution. But it's not just about extending the program. These reforms open the door to improving benefits. Because let's be honest, many people aren't just worried about whether benefits will be cut. They're worried they're not enough right now. The cost of living has exploded. Rent, food, medicine, utilities, it all keeps going up, while benefits haven't kept pace. If these revenue reforms are implemented, there's finally room to discuss benefit increases, not just cuts. There's room to adjust the way benefits are calculated, maybe using a more accurate inflation index that reflects what seniors actually spend money on. There's room to reform outdated rules around working while disabled or receiving benefits early. There's room to remove penalties that discourage marriage or saving a little for emergencies. All of this becomes possible when the system is stable again. So, the path forward is clear. But here's the catch: these ideas won't implement themselves. It takes awareness, it takes public pressure, it takes voices like yours demanding that lawmakers stop talking in circles and start acting in the interest of millions who rely on this program. The good news? Change is possible. These ideas aren't radical, they're measured, they're responsible, and most importantly, they work. So here's the final question: which of these ideas do you think is the most effective? Which ones do you support? And what would you do to strengthen Social Security if it were up to you? Now that the major solutions have been laid out, let's step back for a moment and ask a bigger question. Why has fixing Social Security taken so long? The reality is, Social Security is not just a policy issue, it's a political one. The reforms that make the most sense mathematically are often the ones that make lawmakers nervous. Why? Because any talk of taxes or long term planning doesn't always win elections. Quick wins do, flashy announcements do, but slow, steady, responsible reform, that's a tougher sell. And yet, these are the exact kinds of reforms that people actually want. Most Americans, regardless of political affiliation, believe Social Security is worth protecting. Most would accept a small change today if it meant protecting their future. And most agree that the wealthiest Americans should not be contributing less, percentage wise, than everyone else. That kind of fairness resonates, but it needs to be explained clearly and honestly. It's not about punishing anyone, it's about shared responsibility. Everyone benefits from a stable Social Security system, and everyone should play a part in keeping it that way. That's how strong nations operate. That's how retirement security is preserved across generations. What often gets lost in this debate is the human side. Social Security is not just a line item in the federal budget. It's the groceries on someone's table. It's the heating bill in the winter. It's the ability to afford a doctor's visit without skipping meals. And for millions of Americans, it's the difference between dignity